Hello buddy, welcome to another quick video. Now, not entirely sure what I'm going to get out of this one today. Basically comes to a local woodland that I've been to a fair few times before. Quite glad I put the boots on as well, it's very squishy underfoot. But yeah, don't know what we're going to get. Going to have a look around for some sort of woodland images. Because I know sometimes there's some sort of interest around here. But I've never been up at this time of year. And I know there are some birds around here, so I've dropped the 40 to 150 in the bag. Just in case, it's light enough just to throw in there. But yeah, I'm going to try a few different bits. Might be some black and white images coming out today. Patchy cloud at the moment, so there's hints of light, hints of little bits. But I mean, a classic one. Tree up there in that field. Glorious tree. Can't really make anything out of it, unfortunately, because where it is, there's no real separation. No matter which angle you look at, you're never going to get the shot. But it's one of those that it looks fantastic, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make a great photo. But yeah, it's quite nice. Well, I'll just zoom in on it now for you. And there it is. I mean, that is an absolute cracker of a tree. There's just no separation or anything you can do with it. Real shame. But yeah, it just goes to show that not every scene that looks great makes a great photo. So it's kind of a bit of a wander, see what we can find, see if we can pick any patterns out of the trees, because I'm not expecting to be much there. Did spot a bit of funky on the way in, really quite surprised at. But yeah, we'll have a look around, see what's around, and see if we can pick any shots off. Now, I've had quite a bit of mixed weather this week. Some very cold spells, some very wet spells. Today looks like mixed cloud. Yeah, maybe just a little bit of light coming through every now and again. But I've noticed this swampy area down here, I've never known it quite that full, so yeah. So I don't think there's much can do on there. It's very messy, there's no real sort of definition on anything. But yeah, I'm going to keep on looking for different bits and bobs. Also keep an eye on sort of the woodland floor as well. We're coming to the time now where you start to see like the other part of the leaves of the wild garlic and the dog's mercury coming up. So there's always something you can sort of spot down on the woodland floor. Obviously there's always the normal stuff as well. Look at the roots, look at the different things that are around there. If you've got any leaf fall, you can really make some patterns out of those. And even though it's quite early, as I said, I've spotted some fungi around, so it's worthwhile keeping an eye out for that as well. There's no telling what you're actually going to find when you're actually sort of looking around. There's little flowers coming up, there's lots of little sort of signs of spring that are really starting to come through now. And we're sort of halfway through March now, so yeah, there's quite a bit around. But it's just picking that out and not being afraid to actually just stop and have a look around. Big thing that I'm kind of guilty of myself really as well is the run and gun sort of tactic. So you're looking around everywhere, sort of bam, shots everywhere. Sometimes, especially when I'm in the woods, around this time of year, I'll look at sort of different things and sort of see shapes and see patterns. Wait for the light to come through. We're just getting a little bit of sunlight coming through now, but it's not really casting enough of the shadows. But yeah, look at the ground, look at what's around. Looking at, we've got some nice ivy coming up here. Possibly in sort of a month or so when you get a little bit of sort of foliage coming through, that'll look quite nice. The moss on some of the trees, I mean, those up there, some absolutely gorgeous moss on the trees. A little bit of side light coming through on that, make a brilliant shot. Now we're running the, as per normal, 12 to 100 today. So I can drop that down to f4, give you a lovely depth of field on it, and a beautiful shot, especially with the sun coming through it. So I'll probably get a few of those. Usual thing this week, I'll take a few shots as I'm going around. I'll drop them up at the end for you so you can have a look at them. But yeah, pretty much everything today is, because it's bright enough, be ISO 200. Either f4 for the close-up, f8 for the wide stuff, and between 60th of a second and sort of 120th of a second I would have thought on the shutter speed. So yeah, nothing too extravagant today. So far I've not really found a great deal that's really sort of standing out to me. There's a couple of little bits and bobs, but nothing that's really sort of give me that wow factor, sort of things. Yeah, it's a nice composition that's coming through. There are a couple of little bits that I think later in the year will work quite well. It just needs a little bit more shape in the tree itself, with a little bit of foliage in the background. Like I say, the key to it is try and get that separation in place. We get some nice effects with the ivy, but there's no real sort of depth to it, unfortunately. What I do tend to find I'm doing, though, more than anything, I'm sort of crashing down and sort of looking along the floor to the trees as well. If you can help it, sort of try and get rid of the sky as much as you can, because it can sort of blow your frame out a bit. But yeah, a few bits, but nothing yet. But keep on wandering. I can see the bird feeders down here, so I might have a quick sit and see if there's anything going on with those. So nice little bits at the feeders, not masses going on, lots of blue tits just flitting around, but I know you could say it's cheating taking pictures of birds by feeders, but if you're just getting started with wildlife stuff, it's actually a really good way of doing it, because you almost guarantee a captive audience. You can just stand there and just sort of practice your shooting. It's really quite good for it. Yeah, I know the rule of thumb is sort of, wildlife, you've got to be out and wild and doing stuff like that. But yeah, it's not always that way. You can enjoy yourself. Like I say, next to a set of feeders like that. Like I say, I just spent half hour there, just sat there, got the 40 to 150 on with the teleconverter. And yeah, it's lovely. Just nice, relaxed, just watching the birds doing their own thing. Quite enough, I thought there was a woodpecker up there, but it was actually a nuthatch having a bang around in one of the bird boxes. Yeah, not something I've experienced before, but yeah, looks like there's quite a few birds pairing up there, so certainly sort of in a couple of months it could be quite nice to come up here, see, get the youngsters out and about. As always, when you're in the woods, it's always worthwhile sort of a bit of wandering. There's not really much to sort of talk about there, but the way I've just come, but for the fact that the track is muddy and trailed, you could actually make a reasonable composition out there. You've got a couple of nice trees over here. You've got sort of the trees they're fairly even along the path. Given the right conditions, that could actually make quite a nice composition out of it, but the paths are phenomenally muddy. They're well trodden, and like I say, we've had some fairly sort of rough weather this week, and yeah, I don't think it's done it any favours really. It's a bit of a shame really, because that could be quite nice. Just a bit further down the path, there's this cut down tree, which actually, it kind of works with the tree behind it. Not too sure exactly how I'm going to do the edit on it yet, but yeah, you can sort of use it, just a curve into the tree in the background, which has kind of got a bit of character to it, because you've got that sort of one side of it, the right hand side, that's actually sort of previously dropped off, and sort of gone that way, so yeah, it's got a little bit of character. Trying to take as much of the sky out as I can really, but yeah, a little bit of interest. But the other thing I'm keeping an eye out for, because it's the right sort of season for it, are scarlet elf-cap fungi. Bright red cups. In fact, I think I might have said that right. I think the scarlet elf cups, if I remember rightly. But I've seen a couple, but they've not been very good. But I'm keeping an eye out for them, because the ideal condition is a bit soggy underfoot, and you've got a lot of sort of undergrowth areas which they love, so I'll be sort of scouring around, see if I can find some of those. Don't know whether I will do, but I'll keep an eye out for them. Again, just reiterating sort of the bit with looking at detail and sort of what's around you, sort of not just in the trees and general area, but sort of looking down on this log, just down here, little groupings of leaf and sort of half an old acorn, bits and pieces like that. Just did a quick shot of that f6.3, looking sort of quite low across it. Works nice because you've got this lovely sort of green moss give some head for a bit of a moody edit on it, but I think it'll work quite nicely. Like I say, even though sort of I'm not seeing a great deal in the trees, there's lots of shots to be had just from being around with. It's not great. There's actually a bit of a log on the floor down there covered in what looked like turkey tail fungi, but it's just not very photogenic, so I'm not bothered with them. But yeah, always just keep an eye on things, just look around you and see if there's anything that sort of, I don't know, sort of thing that just looks slightly out of the ordinary and sort of catches your eye, because they're the sort of things that you can make a great shot out of. And almost just to prove the point, a couple of logs along, an incredible grouping of jelly ear fungus. The bit that's really catching my eye is just along here. I'll just zoom in, because it's quite well formed, but you've got this nice moss around it. So I'm going to say I can pick up a shot. There's actually bits all the way along this log looking at it. But there's loads of it around. Really wasn't expecting that. But I'll drop over to F4 and I'm guessing, well, yeah, I'll be zoomed all the way in, but I'm guessing this is going to come out quite nice, but let's have a go. It's gone up and again. I've gone, what, 50 yards down the track, and some absolutely stunning moss. Have a look at this. Okay, so I've got you zoomed in. If I just sort of drop the camera down here and just have a pan around a bit, look at all these different types of mosses that are going on. Just wait for it to refocus. Here we come. It's absolutely gorgeous. The compositions here are unbelievable. And if I zoom out, that's all it is. There's the track that we've just come down, the log that we're at was just up there, and just an old stump. But because it's got a nice bit of moisture around it, it's given us some lovely, lovely patterns, and yeah, it's really, really nice. So yeah, some definite moss shots coming in today. And I absolutely love the fact there's so many different sort of patterns and shapes from that moss. If you're just walking by, you probably wouldn't even notice it too much, but yeah, you've got all the ones that are up on the strands like trees, and little sort of fern-like ones, the ones that are sort of sparkling out. Absolutely gorgeous. That first thing was some dew on, but absolutely stunning with a bit of side light. Really good, well worth remembering. Yeah, so other than a few bits of fungus, it's not been a brilliant trip up into the woodland, which is a shame, because I know it is quite a good woodland. I mean, I'll stick a shot up now of a shot that I took probably 2.5 years ago now, when the woodland was sort of just post up, so just starting to edge into the slight bit of autumn. That's a beautiful tree a bit further up, but because the woodlands were dense around it, it worked really well. It's just one of those things. Sometimes you don't get the great conditions, you don't get the great scenes that you may be expecting. But yeah, it's been nice to sort of have a wander around this bit. I mean, where I've come to now, where I actually started was right the way back up there, so probably about sort of half a mile or so in that direction, and the woodland sort of tapers down to this end and starts to thin out a bit. If I just come around here, going completely off piece just to avoid the fact there's a bloody great big puddle just over there. There's this little group of trees that I've just spotted here with some logs in the middle. I'll just flip you around. I'll see if I can make something work from it. It's slightly awkward. I'm actually shooting straight into the sun, but you've got this nice little pile of sort of, I think they're actually sort of pre-cut logs, but they might not be, with trees either side. Now it's a bit of a shame that, to point out, you've got a lot of glare on these leaves here, because the sun's literally sort of there at the minute, so it's quite bright, which is a bit of a shame really. But what I might be able to do, if I can sort of find the right sort of spot, because there are a few shadows, if I just back up here a little bit without falling over. Not quite there, I don't think. Maybe somewhere around there, and take a shot. That might actually work. but because of the bright condition, I'm going to push and pull it a bit. Like I say, it's not ideal because I was starting to get some of the sunlight coming through, but it's giving some real sort of harsh light rather than actually some quite nice light. So it's not really throwing shadows because it's slightly diffused, but it's bright enough to be, sort of quite annoying. But yeah, might have to do something like that. Blow everything out, just go to black and white, make it proper moody. Possibly go to a 16:9 as well, possibly even tighter than that. Just get rid of that sky and try and sort of soften that out a little bit. Yeah, I'll have a bit of a play with it anyway. So Woodland, a lot of people do say yes, it's a hard gig. It can be difficult to pick out compositions in Woodland. It's something that thankfully I've never really sort of struggled too much with. Yeah, I don't get the killer compositions because I don't tend to sort of be able to get out when the conditions are absolutely perfect, like sort of thick fog and stuff like that. Never seem to sort of time it right when I'm not at work and sort of get out in it. But certainly sort of go for a wander in the local woodland. It's amazing what you can find just by, just having a stroll. That's literally all I'm doing. I'm not even sort of clambering today. It's just a gentle stroll around, avoiding the big muddy patches as much as possible, and seeing what's about. Like I say, we're just coming down towards the end of the woodland now, but I'm seeing some shapes behind me, sort of down there, that I might be able to make something out of. I'd love to have, honestly, that's right, even more sunlight, to actually get some proper shadows running down, because this is a lot more sparse than the bit further up. I mean, looking back on there, I mean, if some nice shadows across there, make some lovely moody shots, some black and whites. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get that today looking at it, because there's just enough cloud to be annoying and just enough sunshine to be annoying. It's just not quite right, unfortunately, but there you go. Can't have everything, can you? I have to admit, I'm definitely glad I've got some pretty decent boots on today. I was going to head out onto the fields over that way, just down to the stream at the bottom, but literally over the stile there, there's sort of 6 inch of water, so like, no, abort on that one. But I'm just sort of coming off piste again. 2 reasons. One, it's not as muddy because it's not as well trodden, and 2, it's the sort of thing that I say there's quite a lot in Woodland. Don't just stick to the paths, although a lot of time the paths can be quite nice. I mean, the path I've come off right the way over there, but I've by the sort of bit of a ditch here, and there's almost a track that you can make out, probably more sort of travelled by animal than anything else. But if you head along here, you can actually get sort of deeper into the sort of heart of the trees and find stuff that normally you wouldn't see when you're on the path. So yeah, it's well worth sort of wandering off, going off piste. I mean, I do it a lot in late districts up on the hills and that, just because there's so much more that you can see away from the sort of the regular sort of touristy bits, as it were. But yeah, so I'm going to sort of have a bit of a wander around. The other thing as well, bark on these trees, really, really nice, and there's a lot of textures that you can sort of pull out. It's a shame actually I didn't put the light in the back. That with a bit of extra side light on that, just bring those shadows out. I might still try and get a shot coming across it. So it almost becomes like an abstract shot. But yeah, might give that a go. See what comes out with that. But yeah, I'm going to try and work my way through this lot. Ideally without being sort of stabbed too badly by the bramble, etc. But yeah, we'll see what we can find, and carry on sort of wandering back up the hill. So, like I say, I'm not the first one along here, because I've actually just found a rope swing back there on one of the trees. But what you do find when you go off piste are little gems like that. Completely set aside from everything else. There's a couple of trees either side of it, but basically frame that, nice sort of vertical shot, nice portrait shot. Essentially, go run that up, put a strong vignette on it. You've got a nice bit of separation because you've got the holly in the background, so you can make it sort of stand out a bit. Yeah, but lovely. There's a little bit of light coming this way, but the sun's over there, I'm behind the cloud now, so that's not going to happen. But I think that's going to make quite a nice little shot. Nothing spectacular, but it's something different, which is what I look for in woodland. Something different that catches your eye. And that fits the bill lovely. Yeah, so grab that shot, I think. Looks like it's a little bit messy around here, but it's worthwhile coming for a wander when you find little gems like that. Right, grab the shot, carry on wandering around here, see if there's anything else that stands out to me. Came around the corner and spotted this one. Not amazing compositional wise, but I just found it interesting that sort of the curve of the tree sort of fits quite well with that. Again, we've got a nice holly in the back, so it gives us some nice separation. You can bring that forward, so yeah, I think that'll work quite nicely as well. So grab a shot of that. I think I'm going to have to sort of stop tailing back on myself, because I don't think I'm going to get much further along there, but yeah, nice a couple of interesting ones sort of off the beaten track, as it were. So yeah, well worth a bit of a wander out this way, I think. And just on my way back out, look over, see that little gem. Again, it's one of them you can't really compare, especially with the sky as it is. If the sky's a bit more moody, with a bit more texture to it, yeah, that might work. But as it is, I don't think I'll be able to get anything out of that. I'll try a couple of bits, but I don't think anything's going to come of that, unfortunately. But yeah, what a glorious looking tree. Beautiful shapes, really interesting to look at, and actually framed by sort of this pair of trees in the foreground as well. Yeah, interesting, but yeah, I don't think we're going to get the shot from it, unfortunately. Yeah, not a bad wander around. Nothing astounding really, a couple of little bits and bobs. Is that sort of thing, you don't know what you're going to find when you get here, but if you get anything nice, it's a bonus. I've enjoyed the couple of hours that I've had out. Nice and relaxing, not a lot better really wandering around Woodland. But yeah, it's been quite pleasant. No killer compositions, like I say, it's trying to think. I think I'm either just a little bit too late for any interest, or a little bit too soon for any interest. I don't think spring's really hit this sort of area properly yet. There are a couple of nice sections where the trees have worked quite well. I did find a couple of scarlet elf cups. Nothing astounding, unfortunately, but yeah, I've spotted them. But yeah, some of the trees have been brilliant. I would love to see some more silver birch dotted into there. For me, silver birch is the tree to photograph. It's just something that you don't really realise until you start doing a lot of woodland photography, how expressive and sort of you can make them stand out. It's really nice. But yeah, it's going to head back now, I think. Start wandering back. I'm still looking for different bits and bobs. And there's this one behind me here which doesn't look too bad, but if I just spin around, there's a few here as well. It's my work of actually trying to line them up. So essentially it sort of lead you through, sort of get your ducks in a row sort of thing. Yeah, so I might give that a go. There's a couple of other trees dotted around, but there's nothing that's really sort of standing out to me today. As far as the woodland floor goes, that's been lovely. Lots of fungus, some beautiful mosses, and generally some really nice sort of shapes and forms on the woodland floor. Wasn't expecting to actually see quite as much actual sort of leaf litter as there is in some sections. I was expecting that all to mulch down with how damp it's been, but yeah, it's been quite nice. Might have actually spotted something a little bit further on. Before I actually head out and go back towards the van, I'm going to head up here. Might be something along here that might just work. And this is where I could see in the distance. Now I don't know whether this is going to work or not, but I just spotted this tree right off into the distance. But just look at that. That's quite incredible, really. It's like it lay down and then decided to grow up afterwards. Yeah, I might be able to make something out of that, because the one behind it's a little bit bendy too. She hasn't got this branch sticking up just in the middle, but that might work. Yeah, so there you go. Completely unexpected. Spotted this out of the corner of my eye when I was just talking to you, and yeah, it's not brilliant, but yeah, it's something different. It's a shame that the sky is a little bit glary. It's got some pattern in it. I'll see what I can do in post. We'll see what happens with it. But yeah, it's quite nice. And there's a lovely section of woodland. A little bit messy, but in a way I like it. I don't really like the managed woodland too much. Plantations can be great fun, but they can be a little bit too uniform at times. It's great if you can get like a long shot of just one subject, and then sort of all the stuff passing back, you can just let it just drift off into the distance. But I do like a natural woodland for, sort of just a bit of playtime, really, just see what sort of shapes you can pick out of it. There's another one just up in front that I think the sky's going to ruin it for me, but yeah, I'll try a shot anyway. We'll see what happens. But for now, I'll leave the video here. I'll have a little bit of a wander, then sort of head on back. Apologies for the road noise in the background if you can pick that up. But yeah, it's been good fun wandering around the woodland. Something I advise anyone to go and do, even if you've only got a phone. Get out there, just kind of a play with it, really. You're outdoors, which is great. It's great for your health. It's great for your mental well-being as well. Yeah, works brilliantly. But yeah, for now I'll leave it there. And thanks for watching. If you've liked it, give us a big thumbs up. Really helps out. Not sure what I'm doing over the next sort of couple of videos, but if there's any sort of bits and bobs that you fancy doing, even the stuff I've covered before, drop us a comment down below. I'll try and sort of fit stuff in around it. But yeah, for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Take care.
Oftentimes it's easier to fall apart than face yourself and hold faster than before. A king of terrors whispered my name.